All right. Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Sowing and Reaping YouTube channel. And I know I'm doing this kind of early as far as the Eastern Standard Time goes. Um, but before I go out for my long run, I'm going to try to go out there and do about 20 miles, training for this 2024 marathon. Um, I just thought I talk about a topic on here that I don't believe I've ever really addressed as a topic on its own, considering how many different people say these things about me on the internet. And I believe that this would be a good video for reference when people talk about me regarding this. I'm not going to read the comments today or the chat because one of my partial motivations for making this video today is because I was listening to a motivational video, before I go for my run and everything. That's me stretching, guys. That's why I sound like that. But in that video, it talked about confidence and things like that and everything, right? So I was just thinking to myself, I haven't made a early morning video in a while. And I figure, why not address this issue about people saying that G-Man is arrogant and that G-Man is, narcissistic and these things of that nature or whatever. Because one thing I notice is when people make these claims, it's always based on trolling, or it's based on a serious lack of information about to whom they're talking to and what they're talking about. And I'm gonna get into why I have the reputation that I have on YouTube in terms of being loved on here by some people and being absolutely despised by some people, and then being respected by the very same people. You'll be shocked at what I mean by that. So I figure I'd get into this a little bit and maybe try to help some people out here by giving some people on here a little bit of advice on how to be yourself and not really care what anybody on here thinks regarding you and what you're actually doing on here. Now, that's kind of hard to do because there are formulas that you have to follow depending, on your goals and why you're doing the things that you're doing here on social media. Like, for example, if your channel is monetized and you are trying to get people to donate, then of course you're going to want people to, you're going to put something out there that people are going to want to watch, that people are going to be entertained by, and then people will ultimately, donate donations to you or whatever. You know what I mean? So there's a certain way you have to present yourself. Let me give you a couple of examples of what I'm talking about here. A lot of you know I have a lot of experience with a YouTuber by the name of Dragnut, right? Well, before his channel was monetized, before he became a channel where he was accepting all these donations, Dragnut was a great debater like myself. He was well, I'm not, it's not that I still am a great debater, but he was a great debater where he would go into these rooms and he would attempt to try to prove, theory of evolution, and whatever his position was at that particular time or whatever. Because he has not debated like all of the issues because he's not interested in all of the issues. But he was less interested in what the audience thought. He went out there, he spoke his mind. When he was done, he was right, and then he left. And that's how it was. But when you monetize your channel and you're trying to go out there and solicit donations from people, you're going to care more about what your audience thinks. You're going to care more about what the people outside the audience thinks. You're going to want to pay attention to the chat. You're going to want to, and these are things I just recently started observing regarding some of these monetization channels, because I was seriously debating on whether or not I should actually join permanently the monetization world, which I don't want to do because this is just not my personality. And by the time this video is over, people are going to understand. All right. So this is why I don't knock channels that are monetized. If you're monetized and you're offering a service and people donate to you, good for you. You know what I mean? But you have to present your product a certain way in order to get people to donate to you. I think that's obvious. I think everybody understands that. If you come across as being a know-it-all or something that the audience doesn't like, they're not going to donate to you. So you have to present yourself a certain way in order to get your audience to donate to you, right? I think that's kind of obvious, right? I bring this up because whenever I make a YouTube video and I talk about something on here that I'm knowledgeable about, whether it's about the Bible, health and nutrition, exercise, or something like that, I got to make sure I know what I'm talking about. I don't just turn my camera on and just start blah, 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 blah about stuff I never researched or looked into. You know what I mean? In terms of what my position is and what the position of the other person is. I rarely do that. There's been a couple of times I've emotionally started videos and didn't really look into the things the way I should have. But most times when I get on here, I know what the heck I'm talking about regarding the topic. And the way I present what I know what I'm talking about, I do it in a way so that people can feel confident that I know what I'm talking about. I mean, can you imagine a person getting on here talking about the Bible going, well, I think God created the heavens and the earth, and I think he created this, and I think he created that. Well, I think Dragnet's this way, and I kind of think that the geek room's this way, and I saw a video here and there, and I kind of think if you spoke like that, nobody's gonna take you seriously or whatever. So when I get on here, I speak very confidently, and I speak from like who I am as a person. This is who I am, as an everyday person. There's no acting, there's no pretending or none of that stuff with me. And then when I speak this way, I come across to a lot of people as being cocky, arrogant, thinking I'm better than everybody. Why? Because of the way I present myself. And I think some people misunderstand me in that sense. My goal is not to have people think I'm cocky, arrogant, like I know it all. No, I did my homework and I know what I'm talking about. Now, there have been a couple of times when I talked about my Bible, where I talked about health and nutrition, and I talked about exercise, and I talked about these things, and I was wrong, and I've been corrected by people, guess what, who did more research than me, who did more homework than me, who's actually in the field and showed me that I was wrong. Then my position changed. That's not a person who's arrogant. That's a person who's confident, a person who's heard the information, thought about the information, digested the information, and realized that he was wrong about something. Now, some people think I'm arrogant on here because I don't change my mind about things, right? I'm one of these people when my mind changes very slowly. I was like this before I became a Christian. You couldn't just come up to me and just say whatever you wanted to me and think I was just going to believe you. If you said something to me that I thought required a lot of proof or whatever, and for example, I had friends, for example, in school, right? And one of my friends in school told me that there were unicorns in the rainforest. Now, naturally, when I heard this, I immediately laughed. I didn't even think about it. I laughed, and I thought it was funny because I was like, there's no unicorns in the rainforest. If there were, we would have at least one in the zoo. You know what I mean? Every time I asked for proof, they never provided it. So my mind didn't change. That didn't make me arrogant. That made me somebody who actually thought about what I believed before I believed it. You know what I mean? If somebody comes to me and tells me I share a common ancestor with a bag of grapes and with all living things, and my mind is listening to what you're saying, and I'm listening to you, and I'm like, wow, I share a common ancestor with all living things. What is that common ancestor? Well, scientists think. I'm sorry, I'm going to have to reject this position. Well, why are you rejecting this position? Because I don't want to hear what they think. I want to know what they know. You know what I mean? That's a person who's using critical thinking. That's a person who's actually taking the time out to think about what they're listening to before they actually believe it. I've heard people come out, for example, I mean, since some of the audience here that's subscribed to this channel watches Carrie and the Geek Room and some of these other people, I've heard people say things about the Geek Room that I found out before I went live to talk about them that wasn't true. I've heard people talk about things regarding Carrie, and they'll come to me and say, "Oh, did you know that Carrie did this?" And it wasn't true, because you can watch her channel and see that she doesn't do these things, right? I've heard people tell me things about Veckel. That wasn't true. I've heard things people tell me about Dragnet. That's not true. You know what I mean? And just because I don't believe it doesn't make me arrogant. Okay? And I think because some people see, and get used to this because I'm going to be saying this throughout this video. I think that's because some people see that I don't believe everything that I'm told, that it affords me a certain amount of respect here on social media. Now, there will be people on here who don't like me and says, G-Man, no one respects you. No one respects you. That's a lie. It's either that or you don't know what the word respect means. Okay? When you respect someone, you prepare for them. When you respect a person, you properly plan against them. You don't sloppily just go after somebody that you don't respect. I'm sorry. You don't sloppily go after someone that you respect. My bad. If you respect the person, you're going to do your research. or you're going to look really stupid when you confront that person, which is why a lot of times when people say things about me, I'm like, where's the link? Everything that you said in that room is wrong. I can come in there and refute you most of the time. And when I come in there, you better have your facts in front of you, not what you heard through the grapevine. You know what I mean? So people respect me in that sense because they know once they start running their mouth, if I get wind of it and I find out what's really going on, it's going on YouTube. And I think another reason why some people respect me on here because I'm not afraid of no one on here. Again, that's another reason why somebody's going to say, okay, G-Man's an internet tough guy. He's arrogant because he believes he can't be hurt and harmed. I never said that I couldn't be hurt and harmed. I never said that no one couldn't hurt me. And I never said no one can harm me. I simply said I'm not afraid of no one. Because if someone comes to me and says something to me or threatens me, and I know it can hurt me, and I think about it, and I think about the worst possible thing that can happen, and I think about the worst possible thing that can happen to me, and I'm willing to accept it, then that person can't do anything to me per se. There's a lot of people in here that can't do that. There's a lot of people in here that have told me in private, say, you know, G-Man, one thing I do admire about you, G-Man, is that you just don't care what nobody thinks. And it's true. I don't care what nobody thinks. Not in the sense that I'm going to change my religion. I'm going to change the way I walk and the way I talk because a couple of people disagree with me on here. Something profound has to happen in my life for that kind of a drastic change to happen. You know what I mean? So I'll use Dragnut again as an example. A lot of people here may think Dragnut doesn't respect me. I can assure you he does. And I think the whole contract video saga, if anybody has any videos regarding that, the whole contract video saga that I put on Dragon, I started educating people about what the law says, about how to deal with people who are stalking you on social media and all that other stuff and whatnot. Oh, I can assure you, Mr. Dragnut developed some respect for me. He understood that he couldn't just manipulate me into doing and saying the things that he wanted. Like, for example, I don't know how many of you remember the whole XX Archive thing that happened where Drag was claiming that he had, no, not XX Archive. I think that it was with Miss Parker, where he was it Miss Parker? He was claiming he had an affair with somebody and his wife knew about it. And I think it was XX Archive, but I think Miss Parker was thrown into it too. I guess a little bit. And they was trying to say that they was having an affair. And the whole goal, I think part of it was to try to get me to make myself look stupid to come on here and say something about it. Now I heard about it. There's some people that will verify that I was thinking about going live about it, but I did some research and realized that just was not the case. You understand? So I think he started realizing that he couldn't manipulate me into doing certain things. Like, for example, I'm not afraid of other YouTubers. Like, for example, if I know a topic, right? Like if I know, let's talk about grapes for a moment. I know everything there is about grapes. I can talk to anybody, and I don't care who you are about grapes, right? Let's talk about biblical slavery. One of the things that made me really popular here on YouTube, besides the fact that I was dealing with the peasants, was the fact that I called the atheist experience, right? And I called the atheist experience about a topic that is very close, near and dear to the Black community, and that's slavery. This is not a topic that we talk about once a year. This is not a topic that we talk about at Thanksgiving or Christmas or on Black History Month. We talk about this every single day, and we talk about different degrees of it every single day. If you knew me personally, that topic is going to come up at least one time during the day. We talk about it a lot. So I had some unpopular opinions about slavery, and those things revolved around the Bible, because when I heard people talking about this topic and going on the atheist experience, they didn't know how to talk to Matt Dillahunty. And Matt Dillahunty was nothing but a man to me. He wasn't a deity. He wasn't some whatever. And don't get me wrong, I got a story about me being really humble talking to one of these guys, but we'll start off with this one. A lot of people didn't want to call the atheist experience because of how brutal Matt Dillahunty actually is, right? I call it the atheist experience, and I'm referring to the second call, not the first one, because the first one had a lot of confusion wrapped around it. That second call to the atheist experience, every Christian and every atheist that approached me, that talked to me live, either told me that Matt wasn't properly prepared, or I was the only one to refute him. And a lot of Christians to this day are going in there and calling the atheist experience with the same argumentation that I've used calling the atheist experience when Matt was there. And a lot of people believe that because of that interaction that I had with him, that I'm an extremely arrogant person. G-Man thinks he knows everything about the Bible. He thinks he knows everything about slavery. Let me tell you something. There are several Christians on here that know that topic better than me. Several of them. I would say that, especially in the Black community, as far as Christians go, they know a lot about the topic that I've never even began to study. And they're looking at it from a far, far deeper perspective. But as far as Matt goes, Matt's surface level. And I knew that when I listened to the man talk about the topic. That's why I've been obsessed with debating him on the topic, because he would be a very easy W on the topic. You know, it's the only thing Matt has, and I'm going on a bit of a tantrum, is it's a logical fallacy of appealing to emotion. That's about it. He doesn't have any factual information that would cause anyone to believe that what he's saying is factually true. He's been corrected, I don't know how many different times, by a variety of Christians on the topic. But correcting him, showing him that he's wrong, challenging him to a debate doesn't make me arrogant. You know what it makes me? It makes me informed. It shows that I know more about this topic than Matt does. I know more about this topic than Dr. Josh does. I know more about this topic than the average atheist on here does. And that's why I can talk about it. And I come across as being very arrogant, but you want to know what? They respect me on this topic. When I go on Clubhouse, when I go on YouTube, and whenever I'm on a platform talking about this topic, and they know they got to talk to me, they got to know their terms and definitions. They got to know the severity of the topic, and they got to know how to properly present what they're talking about with factual information, because if they don't, they're going to get destroyed. And they know this when they talk to me. That doesn't make me arrogant. That makes me informed. That causes them to respect me, because now they got to come prepared to actually deal with me. And a lot of Christians on here absolutely love me because of my boldness when I go out there and deal with this particular topic when it comes to people who constantly attack the Bible regarding this topic. What about humility? Have I ever shown any humility with debating anybody? Oh, yes, I have. Two of my favorites is the bionic dance one. I told this story on my G-Man channel. I'm gonna tell the story on this channel. She almost deconverted me. I lied to you not about this. I've took on surface level atheists who were decent at debating and survived them. Bionic Dance asked me a question. I didn't know the answer to the question. And then she would not shut up. She kept saying, then why do you believe? Why do you believe? Why do you believe? Why do you believe? And I went back and I went, Bionic Dance. Because she just destroyed me. And this wasn't a private thingy. This was on Skype. This is why I respect Bionic. Why I respect her. A lot of people don't understand that I respect her, because there's only but so many different people in here who can do that to me. So she had me going, oh, I could be wrong. I could be wrong. You know, and obviously I go talk to my brothers and sisters in Christ, and they strengthen you, and you get, you know, better at dealing with these things. But I made sure the next time I talked to her, I came prepared. You better believe I had humility the next time I took on her. Well, not humility, that I was prepared the next time I dealt with her, because I developed a certain amount of respect for Bionic Dance's debating ability. What about when I made my first appearance on the Magic Sandwich? A lot of you probably haven't seen it, but probably remember it. I had a discussion with DPR Jones, Aaron Raw, Hogtie Champ, and I think that was Concordance or Prudence. I'm not 100% sure. But I went in there and I was extremely surface level on understanding the theory of evolution. I was supposed to go in there with true empiricism. I was going to deal with the Bible, because that was my strength. And then True was going to go in there and deal with the theory of evolution. At the time, I was stronger in the Bible than True. I don't know what our thing is right now, but I was stronger than him when it came to the Bible. But he was way stronger than me in evolution. And, you know, he probably still is, to be perfectly honest. But I was supposed to go to the Magic Sandwich Show, and True wasn't going to be on time. And now a little bit of a backstory. Every time I taught the true empiricism in private, I was always told about R and Raw. Be careful when you debate R and Raw. Be careful when you debate R and Raw. R and Raw this and R and Raw that. And there was a lot of Christians I was afraid to talk to the guy. So that didn't do anything for my confidence, and I wasn't that good at evolution, but I knew my Bible, and I knew the things that he was saying about the Bible was incorrect, and I can easily show him why he was wrong. And it wasn't just him being wrong about Christianity; he was also wrong about other religions as well. And I was like, where the heck you getting this from? That's not what that book says. You know what I mean? So I went to the no. Actually, this is important. I called up. I think I called up Veckel. And then I don't know if he prayed for me before I went into the show or I prayed myself. I have to ask him that, but he probably prayed for me. I'm pretty sure that's what happened. I went in there and I was like, whatever's going to happen, happens. You know what I mean? Because this is public. At that particular time, the Magic Sandwich Show had like 1,000 people watching them. You know what I mean? So I was like, let me just gear up to get embarrassed because I'm not ready for no R and Raw based on what I'm hearing from all these other Christians and whatnot, right? So I go in there and we first started talking about the evolution a little bit when we started getting into the 10 Commandments and why he was wrong about the things that he was saying about that. A little bit about religion. Obviously, DPR was protecting him. Somebody's got to be protecting Aaron when it comes to the Bible. But then we got to the topic of evolution. And I knew some basic stuff, but I couldn't. It's like this. It's not even David and Goliath. It's more like an ant dealing with Godzilla. Like Aaron Raw, at that time to me was like Godzilla. He was like I don't know how many of you guys are Marvel or DC fans, but he was like Galactus, and I was this little pebble out there. I know where my strengths are, and I know my weaknesses are. We'll get to that a little bit later in this video, but when I went in there, I made sure I knew my role and I stayed in my lane. I stuck the topics that I knew something about. And it was this video that I played on my on my channel where it talked about science proving that God existed. And I didn't really understand it the way I understand it now, but they was questioning me on how do you know this? Why do we need a cause in order for God, in order to have all this other stuff and whatnot, that exists in the universe and everything. And gave some of the most elementary basic answers, and I surprisingly did decent. True Empiricism said he watched the video afterward and said I didn't do too bad. You know what I mean? I should probably go read a little bit more biology books or whatever, but he said he wasn't embarrassed by how I performed or whatever. I personally think I sucked personally. I'm going to be straight up honest about it, which made me want to get better at the topic. But sometimes you need to get a thrashing in order to get better at a craft or something like that. You know what I mean? In order to get better at basketball, you need somebody to dunk on you a few times to humble you. You need some people to do some things to you to motivate you and cause you to get better. And in this case, when it came to the evolution, I just didn't feel like I did very well. And I felt like Rob crushed me. But when it came to the Bible, it was like, who's your daddy, Aaron? You know what I mean? Because when it came to that, Aaron just don't know what he's talking about. He just doesn't. A lot of them don't know what they're talking about. So that's an example of me going into a room somewhat confident. I'm confident with the Bible, but not confident with the science. That's not me being arrogant. That's not me being some spoiled brat. That's not me going out there thinking I'm better than everybody. That's me going out there and trusting in the Lord, trusting in where I was in the Lord at the time, and trusting that I was going to be able to deal with some of the questions. So again, we're talking about DPR, somebody who hung out with Richard Dawkins at the time. What is this, about 8 years ago or whatever? So this is the guy who rubbed shoulders with Richard Dawkins and the heavy hitters and whatnot, right? Like when I don't know if he told me he used to interact with Hitchens and the rest of those other guys. All I know is that he was close to Dawkins, and DPR was a lawyer, and those kind of people to me are smart. You know what I mean? Especially during that time. Then I got to go in there and do an Aaron Raw, a guy who ran for political office, a guy who every other video was talking about evolution. I barely talked about the topic. Then you got Concordance in there, or whatever that other guy name in there was, who talks about this topic a lot. And then you have Hogtie Champ, who ain't no dummy himself. He's pretty smart too. And I'm in there by myself trying to defend my faith on the show called The Magic Sandwich Show. You can actually see it for yourself if you look for the episode. If not, I'll try to play it on this channel so that you guys can see what I'm talking about. But these are not instances of me being arrogant. These are instances of me being confident in what I can do and being honest about what I can't do. And this is where I think I can help a lot of other people out there. Earlier, you heard me say that I'm honest about that I know what I know and I know what I don't know, right? One of the things that frustrates me, not frustrates me, that frustrates my boss at work, people I work with. I'm training for a marathon or something that has to do with physical training is that I'm annoyingly honest about what I can't do. Okay, so people are so used to hearing me talk about, oh, how confident he is about the Bible, how confident he is about fitness, how confident he is about this, that, and the other. But then when it's time for me to say I don't know nothing about it, oh, you have to know a little bit. No, I know nothing. Talk to me like I'm retarded. I don't know nothing about this topic. Give me the dummies version of this because I don't know. And people come across as being shocked. It's like, you always seem to know something about, and I don't know nothing about this. There's a lot of topics in chemistry I don't know nothing about. That is boring and don't want to know anything about it. I'll admit that I'm willfully ignorant about some things when it comes to chemistry because it's boring. I couldn't even stay woke in class, nonetheless actually deal with it on here or whatever. You know what I mean? Some of this stuff is just boring. You know what I mean? So what I would say to a person on here that's having that's having issue that is being called arrogant when you're not, is that you have to convey to people that you know what you know. And whatever you don't know, make it super clear you don't know nothing about it. And don't speak on it, or have an expert come on your channel and do the talking for you, like I try to do sometimes. If you don't know something about a topic, you just don't. You'll be loved and you'll be respected. And my God, would you be hated on here for that? Because a lot of people wish they can do that. A lot of people wish they can get on here, talk the talk, walk the walk, and be real and not be fake. And I'm one of the realest people on here. Okay. Yes, you can find videos with me going off on people on here, but you will also find videos on here with me being being one of the most loving people you ever seen on here. All of that exists on YouTube. If I had an opportunity to bring the Christian community, it's not even just Feckle no more. It's the whole Christian community coming. Oh yeah, we seen G-Man when he's upset. Nobody can't say nothing to him in private or in public. But we also seen G-Man when he's admitted that he's wrong about something that he's done. One of the reasons why I believe, and now I'm going to mention something on here, but I'm only talking about the ones that was coming after me on an aggressive level. I always call them the Dragoons, but I'm going to stop calling them that. I'm just going to say certain channels. Let's just do that, because the Dragoons don't exist no more. Let's just be honest, okay? There are certain channels on here that was trying to cancel me on here. And they was trying to do it by saying that G-Man's a horrible person and G-Man's an arrogant prick. He's a narcissist and all this other stuff and whatnot. Not understanding what I believe actually as a Christian. And a lot of people noticed that I was willing to say and do things that other Christians was not willing to do. And I was willing to, and not willing, but I just didn't care what nobody thought while I was doing it. And when I say I don't care, the reason why I didn't care is because, well, for two things. Number one, they wasn't paying my bills. That's number one. And then number two, and I think this is true with me with almost every scenario regarding why I just truly don't care sometimes what people think. Okay, when I'm conveying what I believe and why I don't believe in something, because I'm keeping it real. I'm not trying to be fake on here. This is who I am. This is what I know. And this is what I'm saying. You can believe me or you can reject the stuff that's coming out of my mouth. But I'm not going to be fake for nobody. I ain't going to be fake for nobody. If somebody wrongfully, and this is where I will throw Shani in this, if Shani and Rev wrongfully assess something about me without doing proper research, that's their problem. They thought that they was going to live in that house, for example, and they was going to be staying there forever. A lot of people on YouTube thought they was going to be there forever. A couple of people on here was smarter than that, though, because I think they see my personality on here. And some people actually thought that woman was actually going to be with me. But regardless of what people think, I still know who I am. When I say I'm not going to do something, I'm not going to do it. And when I say I'm going to do something, I'm going to do it. It's just going to be done when I'm ready to do it. I'm not going to let some outside force try to manipulate me into doing it when they want me to do it. It's not going to happen. All right. Even now, when I'm talking, I come across as being arrogant and a prick. No, just go take some public speaking lessons or something. Learn how to elevate your voice, lower your voice. Learn how to communicate what you have to say in a very confident manner. It's really not difficult. I've had to do this before. I stood up in front of classrooms before and had to speak, in front of meetings with other business people and had to speak. You know what I mean? It's like, this ain't the first time I ever had to get up and talk to someone before. Before I got on YouTube, I had a bullhorn in my hand. A lot of people tend to forget this. I had a bullhorn in my hand, and I was outside preaching the gospel with my bullhorn before I even knew anything about atheism or anything like that. I was going out there and saying, repent, repent, while you still got time, in public where people can actually put their hands on you. Not this YouTube stuff where people could do the tough talking and then pretend like, be internet tough and whatnot. And then, nobody can do nothing because this is over the airwaves or whatever. I was actually on the street doing this. I've been out there dealing with the Hebrew Israelites, where I will directly confront them, and you will actually see me right in their face, confronting them about the things that they're saying, because I'm that confident that what they're saying is not true. It's not because I'm arrogant or narcissistic. I just know what I'm talking about. And when I don't, God has put plenty of people on here to correct me about not knowing what I'm talking about. And I've been corrected on here. I've had atheists get on here. Well, gee, man, you should take that video down. That's not how Big Bang Theory works. Then I go back and I do my research. Oops, better delete this video. You know what I mean? The G-Man, take that video down. That's not what a mutation is. That's natural selection. Oh, my God, I got that one wrong. Take that off. You know what I mean? I've been corrected by people on here, and I've been shown that I've been wrong on here by some people. People tend to forget that. They have selective memories. They want to think that G-Man thinks he's always right. He's never wrong about nothing. And listen, if I was always right, I wouldn't have got duped by Shanny. I'm going to say this again. If I thought I was always right, I would have never got duped by Shanny. See, personally, when it came to Shanny and Rev, I was practicing my faith as far as helping them. There's nothing wrong with that. The problem is when you begin to help them and you begin to believe their baloney at the same time. And that's where I think I messed up. I messed up because I believed that they was something that they weren't. Until this day, they've never refuted me on that topic, nor have they tried to be perfect. Somebody refute me, not the other channels, me on this topic. So why do some atheists on here love me and respect me on here, right? Notice I said atheists. I didn't say Christians. I've been told by their community. See, some of the friends that Dragnut has and the Geek Room has, they're my friends too. Some of those people who they interact with and they confide in are my peoples too. And one thing that they constantly keep doing what you're doing, G-Man. You have a right to say the things that you're saying online. You're not saying anything controversial or anything like that. So you have the right to get on here and to speak your mind about topics. I'll put it to you that way. And I think they tend to forget that. There's a lot of people who are not Christians. They're like, G-Man, if you're ever in my area, we can go out and we can have a cup of coffee or something like that and chill out and go chill. Before the whole reaction channel started coming after me, I've met with Nate the lawyer, God knows how many different times. And several other people on here, which I don't want to mention their names. Because at this point, I'll have to give you their address and I'm going to have to give you their real names and all the other stuff. And I don't want to do that. And while they know about this, My enemies will go out there and say, "Well, G-Man only cares about himself, and G-Man's an arrogant prick, and G-Man's a piece of garbage, and he doesn't care about no one but himself," which is not true. What I tell people this, and this goes over everybody's head, and I guarantee it's going to go over people's head right now. My loyalty is not to the Christian community, believe it or not. My loyalty is not to the church. My loyalty is to Jesus Christ. And because my loyalty is to Jesus Christ, you better believe I care about what goes on in the church. I care about what's going on with my brothers and sisters in Christ, and I care about what's going on with non-believers when they're being sincere about it. There are times when people went after Dragnut and I got mad. And mind you, I can't stand the ground he walk on. But there are people who have said things about him that I know is incorrect. There are people who have said things on here about, let me think on here a minute, about the Amazing Atheist that is not true. There are people that said things on here about Lee Lemon or Bionic Dance that I know ain't true. Because I talked to them in private. And they shown the receipts. And that's why them same people, and I'm not saying Bionic Dance is one of them, because that's not true. Them same people, I respect G-Man. G-Man, you know, he's got a sense of humor. He gets it. He understands it. He's not trying to force me to believe anything or anything like that. He'll present it, and if I believe it, I believe it. And if I don't, I don't. There's a lot of people here that's actually listening. And I'm not talking about like live viewers and stuff like that. I'm talking about like, how can I put this? When I go on another channel and it's a bigger channel, or when I'm in a place where a lot of people are invested in the conversation, they know a lot of the things that I'm saying is true. But I don't hear about that until, you know, you get the private emails or you get the private conversations that when people were using Skype and all that other stuff. Now everything is on Discord and things of that nature. So there's a lot of people on here that are not Christians that love G-Man in the sense that I go out there and I speak my mind. I don't care what nobody thinks. And I believe that's one of the things that really frustrated those reaction channels. Now I'm going to be specific so that people know who I'm talking about. The Dragoons, right? Where they knew that for all of the threats that came my way and the things that they claimed they exposed me with, it didn't mean that I was going to stop going out there talking about them and doing the things that I was doing. It just wasn't going to happen. You know, I have the mentality like this. If you go to war with somebody, go to war with them. Don't half it. Don't halfway go through it. Don't do a half documentary on it. You're going to go to war with somebody, go to war with them and make sure that they understand who won and why. That's why I'm kind of admiring some of the stuff that I see going on some of these other channels, because when some of these people go to war, yo, they be obliterating people on here. I think people know what I'm talking about, right? But I don't want to say no more names on here because when I do that, then people want to try to twist it and you're our friends and all this other stuff. I just admire good fighting. That's all. I like it when a good fighter's fought and then there's a clear cut winner. I'll put it to you that way. And there's no argument about who won. I think the key to showing confidence is to know who you are, what you can do, and what you can't do, and being honest about that when you're dealing with other people. When you do that, what can anybody really say to you about your attitude? That's not arrogance. That's not being overconfident. That's you walking and knowing what you know. I can never sit here and say I know more about overall science than Thunderfoot. Okay? This is a man who went to school and got a PhD. I don't have no PhD. I don't even got a master's degree in science. I don't even got an associate's degree in science specifically. I know scientific topics. I know things about science, but this man has a PhD. And that's why when I went on the Drunken Peasants to talk to Thunderfoot tripped me up on a question about, I don't know how many of you remember this, but Thunderfoot asked me a question. He said, G-Man, do you believe that evolution is plastic to the environment? I'm never going to forget this. This shows that I respect Thunderfoot. He said, G-Man is, and I was warned by true empiricism. I was warned by some people about Thunderfoot. But, I think I went into that one just being too goofy. Because when I go on the peasants, they don't really take these conversations seriously anyway. And I went on there and he said, is evolution plastic to the environment? And I didn't know what to say to that. I think I said yes. He says, then evolution's true. I ain't fully understand the question that he was asking me, to be perfectly honest. If he asked me that now, I'd destroy him. But he can get that because the man has a PhD in the field and I don't. And for that, I respect him. When it comes to the Bible, he has no choice but to respect me because I know more about the topic than he does. That's not being arrogant. That's called being confident. I know who I am. I know where I'm going, and I know to whom I'm following. And I know what my goals are. Despite people on here like BGTV, Miss Parker, in the geek room, and everybody on here telling me what my goals are. So what about this? What about when people come on here and say that G-Man is a piece of garbage? I got to admit, that one kind of bothers me. And I'm going to tell people why, okay? G-Man, you're a horrible person. You're a piece of garbage. Now, I'm going to let you know why no one's ever been able to cancel me because of that claim. I'm going to tell you the God's honest truth. Because those people clearly forgot what us Christians believe. Number one, if you ever find a Christian that believes they're perfect, that they're better than everybody or whatever, that person will probably be canceled in the future because that person isn't walking according to the will of God. Let me tell you why. We Christians believe this. We believe that everyone is a horrible person, including ourselves. If you are a real Christian, you believe that you are a sinner in need of a savior, and that is precisely what you believe, right? If you believe that you're a good person, and then a person who doesn't know the Lord is a bad person, and then you end up doing the things that the bad person is doing, you ain't no better than that person. And since I know this happens on a daily basis, I can logically conclude that all of us are horrible people, not only just because the Bible says it, but because of what we can observe, right? So when people come to me and say, G-Man, you're a terrible person, so are you. What's your point? Both need Jesus. Because if you start telling me, G-Man, you were friends with race, and you were friends with, and my Bible tells me that stealing is horrible. My Bible tells me that lust is horrible. My Bible tells me that adultery is horrible. My Bible tells me that lacking belief in him is horrible. Not believing in him is horrible. My Bible tells me that believing in evolution and not believing in creation is horrible. You don't want to go there with me. You know what I mean? So when they were trying to come at me and tell me, G-Man, you're a terrible person, like a lot of you saw with Frank coming in there going, G-Man, you're a terrible person. Wait a minute, dude, you're the one talking to minors. You're the one going out there and doc dropping people literally almost on a daily basis, and your channel is about as racist as they come. And you got the nerve to be talking about me? In Romans 2, it talks about no, not in Romans 2. We'll get to Romans 2 in a minute. In the Gospels, it says, judge not lest ye be judged. And by the same manner that you're judging the person that you're judging. In Romans 2, it says, yeah, the law says don't steal. Now I'm paraphrasing. This is not what it says. The same God that said that it was wrong to commit adultery, it's the same God that said that it was wrong to steal or lie or whatever. And all three ways you'll be judged, right? So when a person in cancel culture comes to me and they try to say, oh, you're a terrible person, G-Man. Well, what about you? What if I start digging in your closet? How are you going to come out? Because them past things that you did, they may be gone now, but it don't mean they won't get brought up later, especially if you're not under the blood. You know what I mean? So if you know what a Christian believes, you're smart enough to not come to a person that's willing to admit that you're right. I am a terrible person, and you are too. What's your point? You know what I mean? So it's not me being arrogant. That's not me being a narcissist. That's not me being some prick or whatever. No, I'm just telling you what I believe as a Christian. And last time I checked, Matt Dillahunty and the atheist community believe that they know my Bible better than me. I love it when they say things like that. Man, there's saliva coming out of my mouth when they say that stuff because they have no idea the heat that's coming their way. Oh, you know it better than me. When is Jesus going to return? He doesn't exist. Well, you see, you know my Bible better than me. Whether he exists or not is not important. When is he returning? Google, help me, Google, help me, AI. It's hilarious. It is absolutely hilarious. But no, I think what we see in people who think that I'm arrogant is people's insecurities because they wish they could be as confident as I am. I'm not confident in every topic. You guys haven't seen me talk about every topic yet. Anybody who has seen me dive into topics that I'm clearly out of my pay grade on sees how fast I get out of those topics too. And there are a lot of them, trust me. You start talking to me about retroviruses and getting into the nitty gritty about that, I'm talking about something else soon. That ain't my thing. I could talk about retroviruses a little bit. I could talk about why I don't believe the arguments that they make about retroviruses. That's about it. But can I go into details about how they're formed and how they act in your body and what they do with this and what they do with that and how they affect the environment? No. That ain't me. Go talk to True Empiricism or Pillbox or one of them cats or Nephilim Free. That's not me. That's not my area of expertise. If you want to talk about the flood and you want to bring all your corny objections about the flood, I can deal with you. No problem. There are people in the scientific community like Erica going out there talking about the flood and how the flood couldn't have happened and all this other stuff. When it comes to that stuff, they don't want to have a conversation with me. Their expertise is science. So when they talk, I don't think that they're arrogant because they know about their topic. She went to school, for crying out loud. She has a degree. So she's going to know more about this topic than me. I expect her to be able to answer. As a matter of fact, the smarter you are, the more questions you should be able to answer. I love it when they get on here and brag about how much they know. Oh, really? So where did the singularity come from that caused the bang? Go talk to someone who studied this because that's not me. You just told me you had 10 degrees. There was this woman on YouTube called Scientist Mel that was part of the Dragoon group years ago. And she bragged about having 4 PhDs. She talked to my friend True Empiricism, who didn't even have one, and she couldn't even answer his questions. The arrogant people are the ones on here thinking they're better than everyone else. Me coming out here and saying that I'm knowledgeable about this topic, or I might be more knowledgeable than the average person, doesn't make me arrogant. It makes me informed in the same way that if I talk to a biologist, when they talk about the theory of evolution, I got to listen to what they have to say. And then if I have a question, I expect that person with that biology degree to be able to answer my questions. And if they can't, then I have a right to reject what they're putting in front of me. But there's a lot of nuances and a lot of things about that, about biology and some of the things that goes on in biology that some people are just making up. And that's why you got science and you got pseudoscience, but that's a topic for another day. But I'm not arrogant. I'm just confident. I'm very confident in what I can do. If you knew me in person, like let's say you met me in New York or something like that, right? And we saw a professional basketball player, right? I'm gonna tell you about my personality, okay? And no matter how stupid this may sound, this is who I am as a person. We can run it to Charles Barkley at his old age. We can run it to LeBron James with him presently playing in the NBA. I could care less. It could be Michael Jordan himself for all I care, right? And he says, if anybody can beat me one-on-one, I will give you $1 million or whatever. I will. You will see a lot of people like, are you getting embarrassed by this person? This person can dunk. This person's a Hall of Famer. I'm not gonna. This person's still in the NBA. I'm not gonna. Man, I'll be on that line so fast playing them. It's not even funny. And you know what? I'll probably get humiliated and destroyed, but I'll still play them because I can play basketball. I will probably get humiliated and destroyed because they're better at me, but I can play basketball. You understand what I mean? So that's me showing my confidence in my ability. That's not me being arrogant or being a piece of garbage or anything like that. And if you want people to respect you on here, if you don't remember anything else, now I'm saying tonight, If you want people to respect you, do not back down from anybody. They challenge you, accept the challenge, and make a decision to win. Period. And make sure you're prepared, because if you're dealing with, let's say, for example, Frank comes out with a video. Oh, Carrie, why don't you come on my channel and we'll have a one-on-one talk about this particular topic, right? What I would do if I was Carrie, I'd be like, okay, here's a couple of conditions. You can't put me in the background. You can't overtalk me. You got to share what I want to share. And then make a decision to go in there and destroy them. I remember the last time that I was in the geek room. They kept bringing up 1943 and 1942. I'm exaggerating, by the way. And they kept bringing up all of this old stuff that was already addressed on this channel. And I already had it in my mind. Yep, they're going to mute me. They're going to do this. And they're going to do that. They're going to say, this is how I treat other people. Blah, 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 blah. Already had that in my mind. But the one thing I made up in my mind was, when I leave that room, I ain't going to be the one that's going to be upset, because they're not the only ones with information. Not no more. The days of them having all of the information is over. So when I went in there, as you can see, if you watched that last time I was in here, Tad it, and then it was pretty upset by the time I left that room. I handled myself against Burnt Toast, Jules, and the Geek Room. No matter what they said, no matter what they brought up, I made sure I was ready. Okay? One of the things you got to do if you want respect on here is you got to put an end to a lot of this nonsense before you even get started. And listen, you're so confident you're right. Follow these conditions and let's have a one-on-one. And let's see who's telling the truth and who isn't. Or how about this? Do what Carrie's actually doing and don't even bother going their channels. Use your platform, watch the video, show receipts on why what they're saying is incorrect. That's how you get respect. Show them you're not playing around. Just because people are laughing and clowning you doesn't mean that those people don't respect you. Listen, I'm gonna tell you guys a little secret about the Dragoons, all right? And I knew this for a long, well, I didn't know this for a long time, but this is when people started like really waking me up to what they was all about. I was told that in a private meeting, they was told the way you deal with G-Man is don't take him seriously. I was told this around the time when I first started dealing with Miss Parker. They was like, and I didn't necessarily believe it, because I believe that there's a certain way you should deal with people. So they was like, don't, G-Man, they had a meeting and they said the way, and this is Dragnut speaking, by the way, or you don't take him seriously. You clown him every single time he talks. And this is how they dealt with me. So I would get upset and mad and everything and whatnot. More views, more views, more views. And people started believing their side and whatnot, right? So I said, okay, all right, I see how this game is played. All right. So when I went on Miss Parker's channel, I went on there and I made sure, I said, Miss Parker, do I have permission, yes or no? She gave me permission on multiple occasions, believing I had nothing, believing I knew nothing, kind of like the Geek Room is doing right now, believing I have absolutely nothing on them, right? And I went on there, and history says what happened in history. I don't want to go through all of that. Not my proudest moment, but I tell you this, they took me seriously after that. You want your respect on here? You got to be who you are, regardless of what people think, and get on here and speak your mind. Whether I agree or disagree, whether somebody agrees or disagrees with you. It doesn't matter if they agree or disagree with you. It matters on you being you no matter what. And some people on here are having a difficult time with that. You know what I mean? With me, everybody on here by now should know where I stand with atheism. Everybody should know where I stand with Christianity. If you don't, you feel free to ask me, by the way. Everybody on here should know where I stand on slavery and some of these other topics that I talk about here online. You know what I mean? Everybody on here by now should know how I feel about Shani and Rev, what I used to feel and what I think about them now. Everybody should know. Now, I don't stutter about it. And I believe because of that, people may not agree with what I believe religiously, People may not agree with how I see the world and whatnot, but you want to know what? They respect the fact that I handle my business on here. I may be a little goofy and I come across as being trollish, and I may come across as being overly serious, but I think people see that a lot of the claims that was made by the dorkheads, and I'm talking about the dragoons, just simply was not true. That's why, there's no reason to be intimidated by a liar. If they're going to go out there and keep saying things that's not true, and then I know I can go on my channel anytime I feel like it, or even go on their channel and hit a button and show them why they're wrong about what they're saying. Oh, I don't live with, and I never said, and I never, okay, play this clip again here. That was a minor you were talking to. You had to pay, and agree to not talk about Bullhorn Betty. You're having a lot of intimate discussions with men. And you want to sit here and you want to talk about me? You know what I mean? So, and the geek room can say whatever they want. They can sit there and say, we don't respect you, G-Man, we hate. I promise you, they respect me. Just like Dragnut respects me, Burnt Toast respects me. Listen to me, just because they're doing that goofy, childish doesn't mean that they don't respect me. You prepare for people you respect. And if they ever let me into one of their rooms and don't prepare for me, that's their stupidity. They deserve everything they're going to get. They don't know what I'm going to say when I come into these rooms. But when they're prepared, you'll notice that they're much better at dealing with me as opposed to that, it's just G-Man. It's just G-Man. I am not arrogant. I am confident in what I know. And when I don't know something, I will let you know when I don't know something. And don't act all surprised when I say it. Y'all don't know everything, and I don't know everything. I'm not God. I'm not all knowing. I am a human being just like everybody else. I'm trying to learn just like everybody else. But it does not make me arrogant. It does not make me arrogant. And the geek room keeps getting on here saying that, G-Man don't got no friends. Who are they speaking for? Everyone on YouTube? Because I could bring people in here that will laugh and call them a joke for saying something like that. Starting with the Hebrew Israelites who don't even like me. Yeah, some of them are my friends. I got Christians on here. I got a whole lot of friends on here that's Christians, and I got atheists on here that are my friends. I got people on here that's about to leave atheism. That's my friends. I got friends on here that used to be atheists that are my friends. But as far as, like I said, I'm going to keep repeating this. People keep saying that I'm arrogant. I'm arrogant. I'm not arrogant. I'm just confident. And when I'm wrong, I'm wrong. And when I'm right, I'm right. It's as simple as that. There's no getting around it. So if you're watching this and you're having problems with this topic, all I can say is be you at 100% and don't care what nobody thinks. Calculate what the worst possible, listen to me, calculate the worst possible thing that these people can do to you. Accept it and keep doing what you're doing. That's easy for me to say. But when you develop the know-how of letting things go, they lose all of their power. See, they can't pull you in a room and say, if you don't do what I tell you to do, then this is going to happen to you, and we're going to do this. I remember when they threatened to take down my channel or my channels, because I got like 8 of them on here, and they threatened to take them down. I said, no, that's not going to shut me up. That's going to make me louder, because I don't like that. That blackmail mess, nah, you ain't shutting me up. Now I'm going to give you double what I said I'm going to give you. I'm not one of them people that you want to do that to. Take the channel. I don't care. You will regret it. You know what I mean? That's my attitude. If somebody comes to me and say, G-Man, we're going to take all of your finances, every dime you got. Don't sing it. Bring it. I'll get more money. I've been poor before. I'm poor now. What's your point? I'll never forget when Shani got on here and said, you're going to be poor, G-Man. Well, I'm already poor. What's your point? You're going to be rich. No, G-Man. You're going to be poor. I'm already poor. What's your point? What is your point? I'm already poor. And I have a lot of experience at being poor. And I'm better at being poor than Shani. Way better at being poor. Because you don't see me getting on here begging people for money all the time. I don't have to no more. Well, actually, I don't have to do that ever. When I ask for donations, it's because it was something I'm doing on YouTube or whatever. And people give, they give, and if they don't, they don't. Good thing about me is whether you give or not, I'm going to do my thing here on YouTube. Because I do this for the love of it. I don't do this for donations. That ain't why I do this. That's why I could care less what the geek room thinks a lot of times. And I think a person that has that kind of an attitude scares people like the geek room. It's like, man, we can't shut him up for nothing. Let's just ignore him. You can ignore me. I'm not going to ignore you. I'm going to keep doing what I've been doing since I started on YouTube. I'm going to do what God has called me to do, whether they like it or not. So for the Christian, do what you're called to do, and don't stop for nobody. I'm actually going to do a all Bible Christian version of this on my G-Man channel, but I wanted to make sure I do it on here because and some of you know who you are because we talked in private, okay? And I don't want to mention your names on here or nothing like that, but you ain't got to be afraid of these jerkins. They don't do anything new. They use the same tired tactics. For example, this is one person coming on my channel. Didn't I tell you to stop talking about Carrie? I'm like, wait a minute, hold on a minute. This is not even a Carrie fan here. Because I watch her channel and I look at the people that I pay. One thing about me is I pay a lot of attention to who's in these chats. I pay a lot of attention. I've been that way for a long time. And I'm starting to understand who are coming over to watch my channel. A lot of these people watch Carrie. Some of these people have been watching me, and some of these people are from the Dragoons. So it's a mixed bag, right? So this person was coming on here. I wasn't talking about Carrie in no negative light. This is obviously not a Carrie fan. This is one of those Dragoons pretending to be that way to get me to go off on her. As a matter of fact, I even noticed on Carrie's channel that somebody in her chat was saying, well, if you're not friends with G-Man, block him. Obviously, they are using some old tactics of the divide and conquer and whatnot. Like I said, it's all fine and well. See, the good thing about me is even if I'm blocked by Carrie, when Carrie does something good on here, I'm still going to compliment her channel because she does have the best reaction channel regarding Shani and some other people on here. She just does. That's not going to stop me from saying that kind of thing. I'm not going to get on here and attack her because she's observed some things and has her opinion, because I can observe too, and I can look at things too and come up with my own opinions. And like I said, she seems to be a genuine enough person. I actually think her and her husband have a pretty team, has a good team on here with responding to people here. I don't like the cussing. That's the one thing I wish could change. But aside from that, and that's with anybody's channel. It's not just her. But for the most part, she's the best on here regarding reacting to Shani and Rev. Plus, she has a right to, because for a very short period of time, she interacted with Shani, and Shani decided that she wanted to accept Rev back, the child abuser or whatever. And, I believe, at least I think, that's part of the reason why Carrie does what she's doing. Carrie would not be the first person on here that I complimented that I theologically disagree with on a lot of things. So for all the people out there in YouTube land who believe that G-Man is arrogant, cocky, narcissist, I would say go see a therapist and go do something about your self-esteem and worry about how you present yourself on social media, and stop worrying about what G-Man is doing when G-Man goes on his channel. Because you ain't never going to be able to prove that I'm arrogant or cocky or anything like that. What you will do is be able to show, oh, G-Man thinks he's informed on a topic. Now, if I am arrogant, I can trust that the Christian community will call me out on it like that. Like that. because we can smell a person like that from afar. And they know what Bible verses to go to. They know how to talk to you. And they know when and how to correct you, as opposed to somebody pretending to be that and you trying to use similar Bible verses. The Bible lays it out on how we're supposed to deal with each other, right? But the one thing that needs to be remembered about this video is be yourself, be confident about the things that you're talking about, and when you're wrong, admit that you're wrong about the thing that they showed you that you was wrong about. Just admit it. You'll save yourself a ton of headache, and then keep it moving, especially if that person you know that person you're dealing with is wicked and evil. Like, for example, I could confidently sit here and tell people that there is okay, so me and Carrie has a bit of a disagreement. Me, Carrie, and some other people in here got a disagreement about Shani. Some people in here believe her weight is causing her bones to hurt a little bit, right? After being around these people as long as I've been around them, you know what I mean, and seeing Shani the last time I saw her in person, let me tell you something. There's more acting going on with her than anything else. And the funny thing is, Jason knows she's acting. He knows she can get up and work. He just don't want to be by himself. So that's why I would have like a disagreement. But I'm not going around calling Carrie arrogant and cocky and narcissistic because she believes her weight is causing her bones to hurt. Because believe it or not, an argument can be made about that. Maybe I'm overlooking the fact that she might have osteoporosis or whatever, right? Cirrhosis, I'm sorry, osteoporosis or whatever, right? Or she might have some type of debilitating bone pain that I don't know nothing about, and that clearly Shani don't know nothing about because she don't go to the doctor. One of the things I know about Shani that is extremely, and this is not me thinking, this is not me coming out with my opinion. I know this from a fact from being around them. All this, I'm going to see my therapist and all this other garbage. Rev don't go see no therapist. The therapist is sleeping with him. He got diagnosed with being bipolar by Shani, not by no professional. I've seen his medical records. This dude ain't bipolar. Shani told him he was bipolar. So I can actually get on here and say that confidently, not arrogantly, because I've seen that I have enough evidence to think the way I think. I have enough evidence to think the way I think. Not arrogance. If you were sitting on the information that I was on, you would have the same attitude. You know what I mean? And I'm referring to, once again, because I have to go back and forth between communities. Most of this, 99.9% of this video message is directed towards the Dragoons. Okay? That's what 99% of this is being directed towards. Because they're the ones going out there saying I'm arrogant, G-Man's cocky, and G-Man's a narcissist. Shani even says I'm a narcissist. I'm not a narcissist, and I'm certainly not codependent. I'm nothing like Shani. I'm the complete opposite of that mentality. But if you challenge me, even if you're another Christian, and I have a theological disagreement, disagreement with you about, let's say, let me pick a topic, about the resurrection of Jesus, for example, right? You say that it happened on this point. I believe it happened on this point. And I feel like I've done more study than you. I'll gladly debate that person on the topic. Open myself up for correction. That's not being arrogant. That's a person who is confident in what he knows and believes he can display his point. Because of that, I will be respected by the Christian community and by people who are watching on the outside who may not be Christians. And I will be loved by a lot of different people because of how I handle myself. Now, when I say a lot of different people, let me explain by that. Usually it's by people, 99.99999% of the time, it's going to be by people who already agree with the position or who agree with me as a Christian or whatever. I don't want nobody coming across thinking that people outside of Christianity is going to just love you because you can conduct yourself so well. That's like me saying that Matt Dillahunty loves William Lane Craig or Matt Dillahunty loves Matt Slick because they're really good at what they do in terms of defending the faith. But I bet you this, when Matt Dillahunty was going to go debate Matt Slick, Matt Dillahunty prepared himself. When Matt Dillahunty was going, if Matt Dillahunty ever gets the time of day from William Lane Craig, which he probably never will, Matt Dillahunty's going to prepare himself. And then Matt Dillahunty ever debates me, and I mean with a moderator, openers, responses, Q&As, and ending statements, you better believe he's going to be prepared for me because he's gotten showed up a couple of times by me. And if he doesn't prepare, he's stupid. People get on here and they say that respect is earned, respect is earned, respect is earned. I've earned my respect on here. And if anybody else wants to be respected on here, be yourself. Speak your mind. Open yourself up to correction. And be confident about it. Be very confident about it. The quickest way to shut up your critics is when they show you that you're wrong, that you admit that you're wrong. People will be attracted to that. People will listen to you. I was watching a ministry video with Todd Friel, who happens to be a Calvinist, and this lady came up to the podium, and man, she ripped him a new butthole. She was like, "Oh, you Christians don't feed the poor. You Christians don't do this. You Christians don't do that. You Christians don't do that." And I'm thinking, oh my goodness, man, if I was talking to her, But he actually had a better way of responding, and he had the biblical way, and it inspired me so much. It's not even funny. One of these days, I'll show you guys the video. But what happened was he went up there and he says, "Yeah, I probably don't do enough for the poor." And he owned all of it. We Christians, we don't do enough to help you with your homework. We don't do enough with doing this in the community. And we don't do enough of this of doing in the community. And I'm listening to this, and I'm like, wow, he's actually admitting it. Okay, cool, great. Okay, so what can we do to actually fix that, right? But then what he did in response to that, I absolutely loved it. And it was totally biblical because he said that none of us ever claim that we do enough of it. Loving people, we're never going to be able to do enough of that, ever. Then he said, now that I've admitted my faults, are you giving to the poor? Are you helping people with the home? Are you helping people with this? And he was at a university saying this, by the way. That's why the homework thing came out or whatever. So he says, are you doing this and are you doing that? He just came back with the same energy. Because if you want him to take it, then you got to kind of do it yourself. Nobody want to hear your excuses, especially if you didn't want to hear mine. You know what I mean? Or hear his. And that audience went from laughing. That audience went from being behind that lady to even more people coming to God and listening to the gospel message. And I was like, amen. I was like, amen. What Satan meant to destroy Todd, God used it to bring people into the kingdom. It's not being arrogant. That's walking in what you know. And I walk in what I know. I stay away from this mess that I don't know that much about. Because whenever I walk in doo-doo, the stuff that comes out of my mouth usually stinks. It doesn't sound like I'm really informed about the topic. One of the reasons why my G podcast was so successful with people on YouTube regarding the Hebrew Israelites, because people didn't know nothing about them people. Every other video on YouTube, I lie to you not, was the Hebrew Israelites kicking the church behind, destroying Christians on YouTube. I'm gonna tell you guys something about me. That never sat well with me. They was going out there and they were eating Christians alive on the street because they never heard the line of argumentations that they were using. Oh, we're the Israelites. The Israelites were black. Jesus was black. Look at this scripture. Look at this scripture. Look at this scripture. Look at this scripture. Oh, the devil is the white man and all this other dumb nonsense that they would say. And then God used me And I'm not saying it wasn't just me, because you got vocab out there, you got other people out there, and praise God for those people that go out there and actually deal with them. But God used me, and I went out there, and I went out there with the same energy. I was like, well, okay, so where's your proof you're an Israelite? Well, gee, man, go to Deuteronomy chapter 28, verse 68. It says that that ain't what the Bible says. And then you start asking questions. You start asking them, oh, you got to keep the law, G man. So are you stoning people who practice, who work on the Sabbath? No, I don't. Then you're not keeping the law. Then why are you telling me to do something you're not doing yourself? And a lot of people gravitated to what God was using me to do regarding that. And then when the ministry, when the information from Faithful, myself, and all these other people started, Sister Cherry and all these other people, Vocabulum, started getting the information out there, it became so common that people didn't want to hear it no more. Everybody, there's a lot of people out there that know how to deal with the Hebrew Israelites who didn't know how to do it before. And that's not being arrogant. That's not being cocky. That's called doing your homework and going out there and putting that mess into practice. And now, when I go on the street, the Hebrew Israelites see me as a Christian, it's respect. Before it was, oh, you're a coon, you're this, and you're that. Now it's respect. They're careful on what they say to me on trying to prove to me I'm an Israelite, because they know I've heard all of this stuff already before. When the atheist comes to me that know about me, hey, G-man, there's no proof that your God exists. Hey, G-man, there's no evidence that God exists. Hey, G-man, Jesus never rose from the dead. Hey, G-man, did you know that morality is subjective and not objective? Hey, G-man, did you know that there is no morals? Your God is immoral, by the way, but there's no morals. You know what I mean? Now it's respect now. We gotta be kind of careful how I talk to G-man, because I tried this before on him and it doesn't work. So let me try to word it this way when I'm talking to him. You're right, respect is earned. You're 100% correct about that. I didn't get that because I know it all, or because I'm arrogant, or I'm some narcissist or whatever. I got that because I'm confident in what I believe and why I believe it. So I want people to think about this video the next time they come out there and they say that, oh, gee, man, you're arrogant, narcissist, cocky, proudful, boastful, you person, you. I want you to think about that the next time you say that about me. Because what you're going to end up doing is showing everybody your insecurities. Ain't that right, Frank? Tatted, Brian, and lady with the blue hair. Ain't that right, Dragnaut? Burnt toast and Jules tells all. And Ms. Parker. BGTV. For years. G-man, you're arrogant. G-man, you're arrogant. G-man, you're arrogant. No, the only arrogant people I see is you. Hey, G-man is getting boring. Let's talk about Carrie now. Carrie's taking all of our viewership. No, Carrie's not taking away your viewership because Carrie decides to go live. People just got tired of listening to you guys lie all the time. They got tired of you being hypocrites. She's not being arrogant. She's just better at looking at other people in here than you are. And I'm not saying that to be a jerk. It's just facts. Compare and contrast, and you'll see what I'm talking about. You can only go on your channel and lie and lie and lie and lie before people finally be like, I'm getting tired of listening to these guys, because 99.9% of the stuff they're saying on this channel ain't even true. You think about that the next time you decide to come to me and tell me, gee, man, you're being arrogant. No, I'm not being arrogant. I just intimidate you because you ain't got no self-esteem. That's all it is. My self-esteem is intact because my self-esteem is rooted in Christ. I know what I am and I know what I am not. I know what my issues are. I know what I need to repent of. And Shani and Rev, if you're watching this, both of you have called me a narcissist on multiple occasions. Was I a narcissist when you was receiving money for food? Was I a narcissist when you were receiving money for Delta 8? Was I a narcissist when you had somewhere to live? Was I a narcissist when you was being taken care of? I would love to know, Rev, when the last time I was actually a real narcissist on here. And you can go to my old videos, go to all of them. Just make sure you know what you're talking about. Because chances are I have copies of all of them. You're going to call me a narcissist. Bring your proof, because if you don't, you're just making yourself look stupid at the end of the day. That's not a bad thing. That's a good thing. Because when you start realizing that you're being stupid, you'll stop calling me things that is not accurate about my character and who I am. Yeah, that's why I can make a video response to Burnt Toast and some of the things that she said about Carrie and myself and other people on here. Because I know Burnt Toast is lying through her teeth. This is not an issue of me thinking, me hoping, me having a little faith. No, I know exactly what I'm talking about regarding these topics. Because I lived it. I had to experience it. You're a toast, buddy. So you can show all the videos with G-Man getting mad and threatening people. You can show all the videos with G-Man doing this and G-Man doing that. Just understand that there's always a flip side to that story too. Show everybody why I was acting like that. Show the videos where I apologize when I was wrong about it. You're not going to do none of that because you're insecure. You have no self-esteem. You have no confidence. And you lack that. And like I said, if you don't want to like those things no more, simply be yourself, stop being fake, and you'll be all right after that. Even if nobody likes you, people will have to respect you because you're just being yourself. Because you deal with me, you're going to be dealing with me at 100%. If you ever meet me in person, I'm the exact same way in person. There are some things that you can say to me that will roll right off of me. There are some things that you will say to me, and then I won't remember what I did after that. That's everybody on social media. Trust me. There's a lot of people on here that will tolerate some things and will not tolerate certain things. But you're never going to know that until you meet them in person. Arrogant, I am not. Confident, I am. And you can sit there and say that G-Man is not respected to you till your face turns blue. I'm respected. I'm loved on here by some people. Okay, and I am certainly hated by some people. Because you want to know what? Jealousy runs deep. I've had a friend on here remind me, and I'm going to be specific about who this friend is. I'm actually going to name the name. He might probably won't like it, but I'm going to mention his name. Gentleman Pioneer said to me, you know, G-Man, in comparing yourself to the Geek Room, right? And this is just the Geek Room. I'm not even talking about Drag and all these other people. Because believe it or not, as much as I don't like Drag has, how can I put this? He has done some things on here. Real quick, let me give Drag his flowers. That show called the Great Debate Community that Steve McRae was in charge of, Dragnet helped build that community. That community turned so big that it turned into the Non Sequitur show, and the Non Sequitur show was kicking a lot of channels behind before it eventually fell, right? So Dragnut's a good administrator. Dragnut's a better than average debater when it comes to the theory of evolution. There are some people in here who got PhDs, like Scientist Sam, who don't know how to debate if his life depended on it. But if that same information was given to Drag would know how to present it better than a lot of people. Drag can't debate himself, but he knows how to present it better than a lot of other people. And he's a good administrator. He knows how to get people on his channel. He knows how to build things. And that's all the nice stuff I'm going to say about him. Some of these people on here, some of the people on here, okay, are just hating for the sake of hating. Some of them are just hating for the sake of hating. You hate me because G-Man knows how to articulate himself. You hate me because G-Man knows how to stand on his morals. You hate me because I ain't afraid of nobody on social media. One day I'm going to get tested on that. I can't wait. I can't wait. I mean, when I say tested, I mean really tested. They're going to get so deep into my personal life. Oh, I'm going to shut G-Man up. And they're going to see me getting louder and louder and louder to the point that, hey, I'm outside. You know what I mean? So let's talk about this in person. Got all that lip on YouTube. Let's talk in person. You know what I mean? So my whole thing is that these people are hating on me. They ain't got no talent. They ain't got no skill, and that they're jealous because I'm able to handle myself in difficult situations. That's not boasting. That's not bragging. Go look at my resume, and you'll see what I'm talking about. Like I said, I talked about drag and whatnot. You look at what Gentleman Pioneer said to me as far as like who's done what. The Gig Room hasn't done squat on YouTube. I think the most famous person they ever had on their YouTube channel was either myself or Bionic Dance, because Bionic Dance was on SNL. She was on Saturday Night Live. I got to get that episode and show everybody. Yeah. Bionic Dance was on SNL. That was the peak of the Geek Room. Oh, and they had a semi-millionaire in there in Scientist Sam, who happens to be a racist. Me, on the other hand, God has used me to talk to the cream of the crop in the atheist community. The only person that I haven't talked to that I really, really, really kind of wish I could, but he's getting kind of old now, so maybe it'll never happen. That's Richard Dawkins. Come to think about it. There's a couple of other people that I wouldn't mind talking to, because when I was at the gym, they had on TV a show called Freedom from Religion. I didn't like that too much. There's a couple of people on there that I wouldn't mind talking to too. You know, it actually helped me with my running. I got so mad listening to that mess. Oh my God! But I've debated and talked to Matt Dillahunty. I've debated and talked to Thunderfoot, Jacqueline. Every person I've ever desired to talk to and debate, I have debated them, and I have represented the kingdom properly, dealing with them. Cult the Dusty, all of them, and all these people got way more than 100,000 subscribers. I didn't care if they came on my channel or if I went on theirs. The point is I wanted to debate them and I wanted to talk to them. You want to get me on your channel, that's a real fast way to get me to come on your platform. If it's somebody that I actually want to talk to. And no, you don't need a quadrillion subscribers to get me to talk to you. I just got to be interested in the subject matter. What's coming out of the, like I wanted to talk to Dr. Josh. I got to talk to Dr. Josh. And not only did I get a chance to talk to him, it was a 2-on-2 debate, if you want to call it, or deep conversation with myself and Becco versus Dr. Josh. And I'm not sure if that was scholar fiction or whether or not it was the engineer. I'm not 100% sure. I think it was the engineer. I think it was the engineer and Dr. Josh, if I'm not mistaken, on the topic of slavery. Well, my resume is a whole lot better than the Geek Room's. That's not me being cocky. That's not me being arrogant or anything like that. That's them haters over there who refuse to actually do something positive with that pathetic YouTube channel and actually be a cause of change on here somehow. Let me ask the audience a question here. Which channel do you believe is affecting this community more? And when I say the community, I'm talking about this little small community of these reaction channels, right? I'm going to name 3 channels. Tell me which channel do you believe is a cause for change in this community, okay? Carrie's channel, Burnt Toast, or the Geek Room. I can tell you this. For all the talk that Burnt Toast is doing and all the subscribers that she got, She ain't changing jack in this community. All she doing is obsessing over this old lady named Bullhorn Betty. That's her claim to fame. I talk about Bullhorn Betty. 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 I make a rap out of that. I could talk about Bullhorn Betty. I could talk about Bullhorn Betty. Then you got the Geek Room. They're racist, weirdos, disrespectful Neanderthals, and have no clear channel a topic or whatever. They're not causing no change in this community, but I do have to admit, laughing at some of the stupid stuff that they say on the channel is pretty good. All right. Carrie, on the other hand, let's talk about Carrie for a minute here, and nobody can dispute what I'm saying here. When Carrie starts going after people on here, people leave YouTube. People stop making channels. For example, Shani and Rev. Dragnut has gone after this woman over and over and over and over and over again. Shani kept coming back. Carrie knocked her out for the count. And somebody like Shani, this has to happen to, because she has to change. Rev kept making channel, going on this and going on that and going. When Carrie started on them, they're done. Teddy Bear coming on here, running his mouth, blah, 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 blah. He's done. The Geek Room can't claim they did any of that. They got Dark Ninja mad. Dark Ninja exposed them. They got Tragic mad. Tragic exposed them. They got me mad. They got their butts within. They got exposed. So people can say I'm sucking up and I'm kissing up. I'm just stating facts. I'm just stating the facts because I see them. Haters are going to hate, and G-Man is going to be hated because when I get on here, they can't refute jack or what I say, except for when I'm wrong. You know, and you had this guy, he's so relevant, I keep forgetting his name. Frank, he comes on my channel. No, first I give him the invitation to come on my channel and to bring the rest of the Geek Room with him. He goes on his channel, he goes in his community post and tells everybody, G-Man, as far as your offer goes, blank you and all this other stuff and whatnot. I go along with my show anyway, saying that I'm going to bring Dark Ninja and Tragic into the room. Neither Dark Ninja or Tragic comes on here. I start showing everybody the videos that they wish would just go away. And all of a sudden, Frank and Tad wants to come in my room. If that ain't a picture of insecurity, I don't know what is. Because once I tell you I'm not coming on, I ain't coming on. I probably won't even watch. And Frank, instead of hating on me, Frank and Tad, instead of hating on me, why don't you guys learn from how I present myself on here and stick to what you know? Stay away from the rumors and the gossip and what you don't know. Then maybe the size 11 won't go up your rear end so many different times. I ain't arrogant. I'm certainly not no narcissist. Because if I'm a narcissist, I'm a really bad one. A horrible one. But I am hated. I'm loved, and just like everybody else on here. I got my haters. I got people that love me on here, and I'm certainly respected. Like I said, I'm the only Christian on social media that can sit here and say this with a straight face. And I'm going to tell you something. Some people on here may think I'm using reverse psychology or whatever. You can think whatever you want, but if you ever come in my personal life, you'll see what kind of a badge of honor it is for me personally to go out there and be able to say that I am the only Christian on YouTube that Matt Dillahunty does everything in his mama to avoid. I can say that with a straight face, look in the mirror, and walk with my head up. Matt Dillahunty can't say the same thing about me. This is supposed to be the Christian killer, the one who causes Christians to deconvert from their faith. Listen to me. Everybody knows by now that those actors and those actresses that was calling into that show pretending to agree with him and whatnot, that's what they were. The second this man got to deal with somebody who's real, he runs in the other direction. Because when it comes to slavery, man, sir, you need to go back to school. Because I don't get how you could be who you are living in the United States of America and not know nothing about your ancestors, dude. Nor do I get how you can ignore what's going on today and claim you know something about slavery, because you don't. The 13th Amendment disagrees with you. Listen to me. Some people laugh when I bring up the NBA and whatnot, right? Some people laugh. Wait till you hear my argument that I'm going to make when I do my show this week about the music industry. And I'm going to give you a hint. Even the rappers are calling themselves slaves. And I'm going to let it come out of their own mouths so you can hear it. And they signed a contract and they're broke and they have to do what they're told. And they can't just walk away the way Matt Dillahunty keeps claiming that they can do. Like I said, when I get up in the morning, I think, God is so good. Praise be the name of the Lord. His name is high. He's high and lifted up, and he deserves to be worshiped. You want to know why? Because one of his children, God has used one of his children to say this: Matt Dillahunty's afraid of me. When it comes to the topic of slavery, that man's afraid of me. And if he's afraid of me, and I'm a nobody on here, man, my friend Vecca will eat him alive. Some of these Calvinist friends I got that talk about slavery will eat him alive. They would eat him alive. Everybody was swearing, oh, Dr. Josh and Dr. Josh and Dr. Josh and Dr. Josh. Then Dr. Josh ran into two informed Christians who ain't going to fall for that emotional garbage, who understand the realities of slavery. Being black and all, it's very difficult for a Caucasian atheist to debate a black man about slavery, because what the heck they going to tell me about the topic? I'm just keeping it real. What are they going to tell me about this topic? Except for, I'm sorry. That's about it. You know what I mean? That's why Matt Dillahunty's afraid. And you can, and anybody on here who's friends with Dillahunty, you can go back and tell him I said this, because tell him that was yesterday. This is today. Okay? And the Christian community has taken over on that particular topic. And there ain't a person on that side alive that can deal with the Christian community on that topic anymore, especially when you got to talk to me. You give me 3 of my friends and I will take on PhDs. You can have like 10 PhDs for all I care on the topic of history. You're done. If you're going out there saying that that all forms of slavery is wrong, that's not true. It's how you treat them. That's the problem, and everybody knows that. It don't matter who you are, it's how you treat them. People sign away their autonomy on a daily basis. I wish a lot of you would have been around when they was in the room and they was arguing. Well, it's totally wrong if you lose your autonomy. Well, what if they want to give it up free willfully? Nobody does that. Have you ever heard of indentured servitude? Have you ever heard of contracts? Have you ever heard of the music industry? Have you ever heard of the NBA? People sign away their autonomy all the time, or a portion of it all the time. If you're going to say that is wrong on all levels, then you got to say that that's wrong too. You don't want to get on here and try to sound like scholars, like they actually care. Then when you remind them that slavery exists in Africa and they're doing nothing about it, that's when it starts getting real. So I'm talking about the 13th Amendment. That's when things start getting real. And that's not me being arrogant. That's me being confident and speaking what I know. Because the second that conversation goes into something I don't know nothing about, I'm like, where did you get that from? Can I take a look at that article? Can I take a look at that paper? Can I take a look at that study? Can I take a look at that piece of history? Can I take a look at this? Because that's an opportunity to learn. As much, let me tell you something. Some of you have seen Vaughn Hilton on my channel. This is what you guys don't know. And I think Miss Parker has a copy of that stream, and BGTV has a copy of it. You should have seen the stream when me and Vaughn Hilton didn't agree on the topic of slavery. And Vaughn Hilton started making some ridiculous claims. If I can ever find that video on one of their channels, I'm gonna put it on this channel so you can all see it and see precisely what I'm talking about. You want to talk about ripping Vaughn a new one? Take a look at that one. Although I could have did a better job. I don't think I did all that because I was taking on him and Indigo and some of us in there wasn't fully understanding what they were saying. I think it had to do with the one drop rule, if I'm not mistaken. But anyway, guys, it's time for me to go run. Just wanted to make this quick video. Let me show you guys my face here so you can all see. I'm getting ready to go. I'm gonna look real stupid when you see me, though. Hold on a minute. You can all see me real quick. There we go. I'm ready to go for my run. And you guys can take care. Let's take a quick look at the chat here real quick, shall we? Let me see. Hold on. Okay, so people, the Dragoons are here. All right. Some of them are not Dragoons, but all right. So with that being said, guys, I'm going to go for my run. You guys take care. Again, you can't prove I'm a narcissist. I'm not a narcissist. And if you want to have a debate with me on whether or not you think I'm a narcissist, and you can actually stay on topic, let me know. We'll arrange something maybe on Draven's channel, or we can arrange something on, let's see, on my channel, or I could find a neutral channel that's neither Christian nor atheistic or whatever, and we can have a topic on there regarding whether or not I'm a narcissist. I will make sure to bring a dictionary with me, and I will make sure to pound you in the head with that dictionary and try my best to educate you on what exactly a narcissist actually is. All right. So with that being said, you guys take care, and let's take a look at that awesome outro. You guys have a good night. You guys have a great day. Now, I'm not threatened by it telling people that don't like me to have a good day. You guys have a good day.